Hey, I like how I pretend like I can hear the beat, but I can't.
You were close. You were close.
I think I was. Based off what you guys were saying, I think I was.
Just like, I made the beat. Yeah, you could have been like, I made the beat. It doesn't matter. It's supposed to follow me.
It's forever within me.
Yeah.
It plays to my rhythm.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. There you go.
It adjusts for me. I don't adjust for it. And
All
Russia, street forks you. Is that it?
Wait, what?
You don't know that joke?
I know
Wait,
the old Russian jokes were like, lamp turns you off.
Yeah, well, no, yeah, in there's like a Simpsons or a Family Guy joke. It's like, in Russia, street forks you.
So that's Yakov. What's his name? There's a Russian comedian whose name was Yakov. Hold on, I'm gonna get it, guys.
Mini mission at the beginning of this episode. Hello, all.
Yakov Smirnoff.
That sounds made up.
It is made up. Let me see his face. Yeah, Yakov Smirnoff was a comedian, and he was the one that came, and that whole, like, you know, that Simpsons joke and all those jokes all come from him doing his original stand-up, which was like, you know, in Russia, everything's backwards. Light turns you off.
And that was the educational section of That's Canon.
Yeah, so if you guys want to look this guy, because he's an 80s comedian. He started in 83, the year I was born. And he's
what was his name again, you said?
Yakov Smirnoff, Yakov, and then Smirnoff the way it's spelled. And he's originally from Russia. Or his real name is Yakov Naumovich Bokhis. Some people who might know Night Court might know him as he was the Russian guy on Night Court. He would always show up.
That's funny. I love Night Court.
Yeah, Night Court was
the judge died not too long ago.
Yeah, Harry.
It's very sad.
Yeah, he passed away recently, which was kind of. And I say recently, we want to remind everybody these episodes are recorded months in advance from when they air, because we release these every 2 weeks. So this episode and the next episode are probably going to be recorded on the same day, and you guys are going to get them in months from now, and you're going to be like, "Holy mackerel! Why are they talking about Harry Anderson?"
It is June now.
Yeah, it's June now for
June
us.
2018.
But so we're going to tell you right now. Oh, you know what? We should do a segment called Predictions, and just like random predictions. Just like, you know, you'll be listening to this in October and be like, by now, Trump has left office. You know, like something.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, just random predictions, and if any of them come true,
we're oracles.
Yeah, I was gonna say we win something, but yeah, there's nothing for you guys. You the fans would have to decide if you want to send us money for that one.
Yeah,
that's true. We're gonna start a Patreon.
Yeah,
page.
just a Patreon page where you donate $1
for every right answer.
For every right answer. There you go. All right, guys. So this is That's Canon, and thank you guys for tuning in. This is gonna be a pretty awesome episode. This is a comic selected by Dave over here. Dave.
Hello.
I'll let you introduce yourself first.
And Dave of SquaredIdea.com, co-writer of Trinity, that I do with the magnificent Chris Nicholson. And yeah, just about that. That's all I'm going to go with this time.
And I'm Brian Doc Holiday. You guys can follow me on Instagram at Brian Holiday, HOLIDAE. And I'm one of the 4 hosts of the show Geektastic Cypher, considered one of the best podcasts in Montreal. Tobi.
The next guy up, batter up, Tobi. You can follow me on Instagram at ThatFitDude. That's pretty much all you need to know. I feel like this might have to be the last episode we start out with intros. They should probably know who we are by now if they are listening.
I feel like, I feel that's fair. Yeah, because we're at this point, you guys are like 10 episodes in, maybe 11.
Yeah.
And we've introduced ourselves. So we're just going to start saying our names. And at the end of the episode, if anything, we'll end off with
little shout-outs here and there. We got to do our promo plugs for all those people.
Yeah, exactly.
Giving us those bags of money. Oh, wait. Yeah, no
bags.
And sponsors. We need sponsors. More sponsors, please.
All the sponsors in the world. Give. That was me doing some more Yakov.
Yeah.
So, guys, we're going to be starting it off. Our first segment that we do every week, the elevator pitch. Remember, we are doing Despicable Deadpool 2017. This is issues 287 to 291. And don't worry, if you are looking to see if there are issues 1 through 286, those don't exist. Or they do, but
they're technically like
renumbered.
Issue like 45 or something
Yeah.
like that. This is one of those epic moments where DC and Marvel do it sometimes, where they're getting close to like their 500 or their 1000th issue, and they're like, oh, this guy did so many comic books, so we're gonna just change the numbering, so we get more dollars.
So is it because they're leading up to 300? Was 300 a big thing? Because you've read ahead.
I'm not caught up to date.
You're not? Okay.
I've been reading too many of these comic books now.
That's fair. No, that's fair. But yeah, so if you guys are trying to follow this along, this is Volume 1, technically, as it's referred to. Despicable Deadpool 2017. It's issues 287 through 291, written by Gerry Duggan. Is that you? Duggan?
I believe that's how you say it.
Yeah, and penciler Scott Koblish. And if I mispronounce those, by October when you're listening to this, trust me, I figured it out.
Is that a prediction?
Yeah, that's one of the predictions. You guys can message me when this episode comes out and ask me to record me saying it again, if anything.
Brian's starting training right after this song.
Things like names are hard to pronounce sometimes.
Oh, yeah, legit. I'm not even. When I used to host my radio show, I used to always tell I'd interview people, and my first thing would be like, and I'll let you introduce yourself so I don't screw up your name. Every time. Every time.
You're reading, you're like, that's too many syllables.
Because there's like one hip hop artist in Montreal that I've known for a while, Karma Achika. He only goes by Karma now, but he used to use his full name, and I could never pronounce Achika properly. Because it's like A-T-C.
And are you doing it right now?
Yeah, right now I'm pronouncing it correctly.
But he's actually brutalizing the name.
But back in the day, I used to always say his name wrong, and I also used to misspell his name regularly. So I remember one time I got really mad at myself, and I just kept rewriting it, like typing it in and saying it, because I would listen to how he said it, and then I would repeat it. So shout outs to Karma if he's listening to this one.
So this is future Brian talking, but past Brian said, you know what, if you listen to this 10 years from now, time travel. Speaking of time travel.
Yeah, exactly.
There
you go.
Okay, so jumping into this one, the elevator pitch. So this one, Deadpool kills Cable's parts 1 and 2. Deadpool's going back to his vile beginnings as a mercenary and wanted killer. No more being a hero, no more X-Men, no more Avengers. And if he wants to break bad again, what's more despicable than killing your best friend? Cable better get ready because his old friend Wade has him in the crosshairs. So yeah, who wants to go first on their own elevator pitch?
I'll do.
I think we should let the guy who's more closely related to the Merc have a chance to speak his mind.
It's not like I'm wearing his shirt or have my Instagram hashtag Merc_Wittamouth. So I guess the elevator pitch would be if I was talking to someone. So Deadpool's gotten sick and tired of being a goody-good. He's tired of he's tired of being responsible for his family, although that ends up always falling to his lap. So this would be him going back to his old ways, mixed with finding out the true love-hate relationship between him and Cable that is fueled by Stryfe. That's how I do it.
Okay. Tobes, you want to take it?
Okay. Do you know who Deadpool is? Now, do you want to see Deadpool killing his best friend? That's it. That's literally what this comic book is about. That's all. There's no talking. The talking is during shooting scenes and him cutting people's heads off. It's just like commentary on what you're seeing. That's all it is. It's Deadpool killing his best friend and time travel. That's all I can say here. I don't want to give too much away before we talk about the story. So
yeah, at one point when I was looking at it, I was just like, I think my elevator pitch would be Greg Duggan. I'd be like, if I could get someone like Greg Duggan to write it, I'd ask him, can you write a comic from the perspective of a 5-year-old who's done acid?
Yeah.
That's what I would say. Write the comic from the perspective of a child who's done acid.
Yeah, the frame is sort of a mess. It's there's so much happening in this comic book.
Yeah, that was
in terms of what you're looking at. Yeah.
So yeah, that too. Yeah, the art too. Actually, I meant more just the story itself. But you're right. Even the art, in some points, feels like a child on acid just took a crayon and went.
and funny enough, this is not an insult. It's kind of just
it's very accurate.
It's just so much given. Like as you're reading, you're like, wow, there's a lot happening. you're constantly thinking that, and then by the time it's over, you're like, it's a fast ride.
Yeah.
Each issue, right?
Yeah.
It's a quick ride. By the time it's done, you're like, you got the gist of it, and not an insult. I don't need to go back to read it because it was so straightforward.
Yeah.
It was like, this is it, and this is the end. Next one. That's pretty much what I got from each issue.
Fair. That's fair. Yeah. I agree. So yeah, guys, that is our elevator pitch. Thank you for that. And we are going to continue into our next segment. This one is Judgment Call. This week it is myself and Tobi. We're going to be taking our judgments to the judge. Dave, I'll let you continue.
All right. Well, it's, as always, main event of the evening. It's the chance for two combatants to fight for the right for their character to be in the spotlight. It's our classic head-to-head where two people judge two characters that have basically been either underutilized or not had their due. You get to argue for about 3 minutes to argue your point. Then we each give each competitor 1 minute to trash down the other person's point. It could go from trashing down the character, his family, trashing the other person if you want. As far as I care, I don't really care. And then the judge makes the call. And with that, I'm just going to debate who's getting first dibs on the rounds here. And I think Tobi's still doing a bit of research, so I'm going to let Brian be the first one.
So I'm getting penalized?
You're getting penalized because of your dang encyclopedia. No one can see this, but he has an encyclopedia. He doesn't have a. He has several encyclopedias that he busts out every time. He's like, yeah, I'm doing this improv. He is not improving crap.
Okay, so I'm going to explain this very quickly. I literally open the encyclopedia to a page and point at a character, and then I just read that bio, and that's how I decide who my character is.
Hey, listen, I do the same. I click Google and I go characters.
But you're discreet. This is like showing off.
How much? That's fair. Fine.
Like you're using intimidation.
Yeah. Because I was smart enough to get these encyclopedias when I was younger.
Hey, I wonder, have we been picking mostly Marvel characters in our?
We've actually been doing a lot of head-to-head Marvel DCs.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I think I might have to jump into some Image soon. Yeah, I'm gonna have to
call.
Yeah,
because there's some pretty sweet characters. Okay, I'm ready.
All right, so your time starts. Meow.
Hey, everybody, your friendly neighborhood Doc Holliday here, and I got a question for you. Do you ever feel like there's a lot going on in the world and you don't know where to get the answers from? Do you ever feel like you wish you could have the answer to the question? Well, ladies and gentlemen, my character this week is the question. Charles Victor Zsasz, one of the most interesting characters in the DC universe and one of the most underutilized characters in the DC universe. Now, for those of you who grew up watching the Justice League animated series, anything DCAU, or if you've watched him and if you've even read some of his earlier comic books, you know that the Question is by far one of the most interesting detectives in the DC universe. The unfortunate fact is he's also paranoid and crazy. But hey, check this out. You know what's really funny about that? It turns out he's not paranoid and crazy. Every time he's hunting down a lead, those leads actually tie together. It just looks insane because he's actually aware of all the conspiracies going on and all the truths behind them. So while we all walk around like sheep with blinders on, or I should say the characters in the DC universe do that, when they're constantly trying to figure out what they need, what they should do, who they should go after, and how they can survive, notice how the Question has never been dead or in any of those bad places at the bad time, at the wrong place at the wrong time, because he knows the answer. Don't go there. Don't be there. I'm the detective, and I've seen it coming. I saw everything that was about to happen. I saw it before you did, and you guys should just be listening to me. We could avoid a lot of these scenarios if we just turned to him. And that's what makes him one of the best characters to write about, because he would be the guy finding out all the details before anybody. Any story you want to set up for like a year from now, you could have the Question researching that information a year earlier. That's such an interesting concept to me as a comic book, to have this guy researching the details of a potential threat, attack, Lex Luthor's presidency, all that stuff. He could see it. He would be researching it. He would be finding the information. He'd be there in the gutter doing all the dirty work while Batman lives in the ivory tower and Superman's off saving XYZ. He's actually doing the hard work so that these guys in the end just get to punch things. But you know why they just punch things? Because they didn't do the work to stop it in the first place. Batman, world's best detective, smartest guy around. How come this guy already knows how not to get in trouble? Had he been around, maybe there wouldn't have been a need for Batman because he would have saved your parents from being shot. The whole situation is a waste. This guy could have saved us all. The question, the answer, bong. It's all there.
All right. 25 seconds to spare. All right.
I usually take my whole time, but I felt like with this guy, I got my point across.
I have comments afterwards, but I'll say them afterwards.
I got some answers for you after, Tim.
I got some answers. I like that. I like that.
I would just like to point out, you regularly sound like you have already a judgment before he's even started.
This is funny. But this time I have a really valid reason for it. But
Wait, so are you saying you already have a judgment?
I don't have a judgment. I have a bias.
He's already judging before.
You already said you have a bias.
No,
What's
because
the point then?
you want to know why? I'm not gonna. So spoiler for the.
No, you don't say no. Don't say no.
I'll say it after.
Okay, but I just like to point out there's no point to this because he's already said he has a bias.
No, he didn't. He didn't say anything like that.
I did.
Dude, there's a recording. Did you not say I have a bias?
I did. But
thank you.
But trust me, you're gonna like the bias. So that's the thing that you don't understand. But anyways, I'm gonna let Tobi go next. You got your 3 minutes starting now.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Have you ever heard of a character called Aquaman? Yeah. From DC? Super lame. In the movies, they made him look sort of cool. There's a movie coming out, I think, when is it? No one knows anymore because who cares? But Marvel has the answer to that question. There's a character that they have in their arsenal that could be integral and instrumental to the current stories that they're telling right now, which is why I feel like he should come out of the dark, the deep abyss of the ocean. His name? Namor, the Submariner. This is a character who has superhuman ability. You're making me laugh because you...
You're doing such a good job. Sorry. You get another 30 seconds because you're laughing.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I tried to keep a straight face.
Not to disrupt.
Okay.
This is a character who has the ability, the ability to swim at superhuman speeds, even by Atlantean standards. He has a greater longevity than a normal human being. He is well over 90 years old because he was born in the 1900s, 1920s, I believe. But he still looks like a male in his prime in the 2000s. What else we have here? Because of his unusual genetic heritage, Namor is unique amongst both ordinary humans and Atlanteans. He's actually sometimes referred to as Marvel's first mutant because while the majority of his observed superhuman powers come from the fact that he is a hybrid of human and Atlantean DNA, his ability to fly cannot be explained by either side. This guy can swim, fly, superhuman. He's pretty much... I don't understand how he isn't visited. You don't have to actually touch him. I think they're scared of the water. They're scared of making him look like Aquaman. Aquaman is not an appealing character. So I think they need a different angle with this character. He has wars with Wakanda. He's falsely led Thanos' army there. Like with this whole Thanos story, this is where Namor would have been so vital and integral to this. This would have been a great character to introduce. This would have been a great point to introduce him. Aside from that, I think, actually, didn't he start out beating the Hulk? This is a character that started out facing the Hulk and defeating the Hulk. And then later on in the comic books, he ends up losing to the Thing underwater, which to me doesn't make any sense. This is also the point where I feel like sometimes writers just have no ideas, nothing going on, and they just kind of ruin a character's legacy because of that. And this is someone who deserves redemption, deserves a spotlight, should be brought out from the darkness. All hail the Prince of the Blood, Namor.
I'm done right on including laugh track.
Yeah.
That's jokes. Okay. All right. That was strong. I'm not gonna lie. That was pretty strong. So
no bias.
Actually, there's also a bias there. I'll explain all the secrets, ladies and gentlemen, after we go through the punch out round. I'll call it, where I will allow. You know, that was so good, Tobi. You get to take a minute off. I'm gonna let Brian go first on this one. You relax those like vocal muscles. Yes, you relax all those muscles you got going on over there.
All right.
Fucking the Adonis. Brian, your stuff starts right now.
Namor is known as the first mutant, and I agree that they are not sure about where his abilities come from. And as you pointed out, there have been numerous writers who've taken a stab at writing this character. And I say numerous because there's so many different stories and arcs and ideas and paths and major stories where he's 1/5 of the Phoenix, and major stories where he's attacked Wakanda with Thanos, and major stories where he's been part of the Illuminati, and major stories that all prove that he's a major character who's already had major spotlight and major stories told, and he's from the major depths of the major oceans, and we majorly don't need anything else from him because he's a minor interest to most of us. Because what does he do? He's been around since the dawn of time. He fought with Captain America before he froze. Hey, your buddy's disappeared. That's cool. I'm gonna go be a villain over here and try and fuck everybody's girlfriends for a minute, and then pop back up one day and decide I want to be the king of the ocean and not do anything in my little green booty shorts. Peace.
I have to say that was very, very well jam-packed. I'll give you that. That was like shots fired, bro. Shots fired. You're bleeding out your side, so you gotta bring your game for this one.
Interesting.
That reminded me a lot of my what was what's the red tornado?
Oh yeah, when you went after him.
There's like repeating of a word, but I won't repeat my word. But all right, Tobi.
All right, my minute coming.
Yeah, 1, 2, and go.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to start with that again. So the question I have is, why are you called a question if all you have is answers? It doesn't make any sense to me. This character, every single run that I'm looking at right now, and you people at home can look at too, he has ended up near death in every single one. Every single one. He can find out what's going on, but don't trust him with getting you the answers himself. He can tell you what the answers are, and it leaves you in the lurch. Hey, question, can you help me find my daughter? Yes, your daughter's being held by these criminals, but now you're on your own. I can't fight, so you're on your own. I can't do anything else. And Batman is a way better detective. Batman doesn't need this kid. Batman is a way better detective. You have people with precogs who can see the future. You don't need a guy sitting there writing, okay, so in the future, this is going to happen. Get out of here.
Minute's done, sir. I let that little bit slide. All right, so you guys actually did a great job, and the reason why I say you guys did a great job is because I actually know both characters very well, and in fact, because I was thinking I was doing the bad combatant. Brian actually chose my character.
Oh,
so that's why I was doing the question. So the only thing is, I know the things that you were right, and I know the things that you were wrong about.
What was I wrong about?
He's vicious, dude. He brutally kills people.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you said he's like all nice and tidy at one point.
No, I said he was he's a conspiracy mind who has things everywhere, and he only kills people when he thinks that it's to solve a situation.
That's fair.
He doesn't go around killing people just because he wants to kill people. He actively sees those as linchpins that will solve scenarios, and that's what I was talking about. His conspiracy map.
Okay. Fair.
So I mean, All
right, so this is really difficult
some people
because
psychopaths run around. Batman, sorry.
Well, I mean,
that was a cough.
He's a bit of a psychopath. I mean,
sorry.
But like, if we bring it down to the bare bones, the whole thing is about bringing people who have not been in the spotlight and et cetera. The only thing though is I agree, considering that Aquaman, they're trying to promote Aquaman, that Namor would be a good character, and frankly, I admit, at least in the Marvel cinematic universe, it would be smart to bring him in as a bad guy and then eventually show him. However, Brian is very much right. He's been in a lot of main story arcs. And the thing is, the whole 5 Phoenix split there, that was a really big story arc, and he did a lot.
Yeah.
He like destroyed Wakanda in that. He's one of the reasons why mutants have the perception that they have in the comic books. At least that happens.
This is why he's important. This is why people in the mainstream need to see him.
You had your chance. Whereas the question, he's not been utilized as much. And the one thing about the question is that whereas Namor does have a lot of drama, I'll give you that. There's a lot you could write about him. The point is, it's kind of like, the argument that I had once about Cable. You've gotten a lot, but people aren't nailing it. Maybe take a step back.
Yeah.
Whereas the other thing I like about the question is that he is someone who chases conspiracies, but the thing that could be cool about that is that he can chase conspiracies. They don't have to be right or wrong, and be kind of cool to see him go after something that he thinks is right that ends up being wrong. It's also a great team up book. So this is very much on the fence. Like I feel I'm like who's that guy on Home Improvement just on the fence there? Wilson or whatever. Like I'm right there, man. And plus you guys hit exactly the points I would talk about. That's really hard.
Who had the better takedown then?
Yeah. Okay. No, I'm sorry, Tobes, and I'm not trying to do this but it's a combination that you guys presented well, but Brian really destroyed his minute. He destroyed it. I'm sorry, Tobes. I've got to give it to the question. I got to give it to Brian.
It's all good. I get it.
It was like a strong, like it was the fact that he kept on saying like major, and then like, he kept on saying like exactly what you should bring up.
That's
I was
true. Like my argument was definitely better than my rebuttal. I'll admit.
I'm sorry about that, but I completely agree. Though I think that he is someone. The catalyst here is I do think you're 100% correct. Namor does need to be brought.
Oh yeah,
in the movie.
I only attack you because we're playing this game. But if you were to ask me who's one of the best characters to bring in after you bring in Black Panther and after you introduce Wakanda and Thanos,
you could have actually stretched out the Thanos story, maybe a couple more movies, right? A couple more movies.
Man, you bring in Namor and you do the whole Atlantean Wakanda war after he comes out publicly, dude. What amazing stories you could do!
Would that be?
That would be amazing.
Dude can fly, man. This is crazy. How many other characters? Like you have Iron Man,
and he's actually strong. Like
he's super strong.
He's super strong. He's superhuman strength. Yeah, he's
the only thing he doesn't have is projectiles. Can he actually manipulate water like Mera?
He actually has projected water out of his body.
Oh, that too. I thought he could just manipulate, move his hands and then he moves water.
He's done it before. Yeah.
Oh, crazy. So Brian wins like by a hair. Like you have like first place who's like here, and then you got Tobi right here. Like,
those Olympic you have to add an extra decimal point to calculate it. I'm okay with that.
I didn't finish strong. That was my fault. That was definitely my fault. I had that. I felt like I had it when I finished my argument for him. I was like, yes, I got this. And then I just didn't close because my lawyers didn't do what I was cheating.
It's like you guys had the same rings thing, and then Brian like landed perfectly in your dismount. You bent your knee. Like
exactly. The whole routine was perfect. Yeah.
For anyone out there who's interested, I was also talking about Charles Victor's as the question, but there is also Renee Montoya, the question, who takes over the mantle afterwards. If you guys are interested in reading stories regarding those characters, you can look up Renee Montoya.
And there's actually
go out there. Honestly, there's so much on Namor that you guys.
On both.
Oh, if you're gonna look up Namor, look up the Invaders story arc where the original Human Torch, Namor, Captain America, Bucky, and I think that's it, right? The four of them.
It's like their version of Fantastic Four.
It was like a Dynamite Marvel crossover. The art's done by Alex Ross. It's fucking beautiful.
Yeah, and obviously we mentioned it a few times that the whole Phoenix saga with the Five is an amazing thing to pick up.
Dude was like the first anti-hero, pretty much.
Yeah, he was. He was the first a lot. He was the first mutant. He was like one of the first bad guys. First
Avengers, Fantastic Four, Invaders, Defenders.
All that stuff. He's got a lot.
Oh, sorry, you're cutting out Tobes.
Okay, sorry, I was just naming all the teams he was a part of.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's true. Defenders, you're right. I forgot about that. Sorry.
One fun fact I want to add about the question, though, which is actually the reason why I thought he was really interesting. So they had the Trinity Wars in DC.
Yes,
recently.
I have that.
So that starts with a girl named Pandora, Doctor Strange or something like that. No, not Doctor. Doctor Stranger or something or other.
Strangelove?
No. It's a guy who kind of looks a bit like the Question.
Oh, the Stranger.
The Stranger. That's it.
Yes.
It was bothering me.
Yeah,
and the Question.
They have the Phantom, the Stranger, and the Question.
Yeah,
three characters that look similar.
Yeah, and they're all those three characters.
Or the Phantom Stranger. Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, it's the Phantom Stranger.
Sorry,
Question.
Even Rorschach, I would say, except he's just
Rorschach is based off of the Question.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah.
They all get brought to like some type of place outside of time to answer for their crimes against humanity, in which case the Question gets his entire memory erased, and during his quest to get his memory back, Pandora, one of the other people who have been like judged on this, she actually turns to him and says, if you got your memory back, you wouldn't be a danger to me, you'd be a danger to everybody. Which I was like, what the hell does this guy know? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the thing.
That's the one thing that brings me to him.
Yeah, one of the reasons I really like the question is because, and I definitely got introduced to him in the JLA.
Yeah.
And then is it in the JLA animated series that Renee takes over? Or
no, that's comic books.
Yeah, that's in a Trinity storyline.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just remember reading that stuff and finding his character, and honestly, really interesting, and wishing that there had been more about him out there.
His best quote is he's talking. It's actually from JLA. He's talking to Supergirl, and he finds something in her garbage to continue the conspiracy that he's trying to figure out. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because she turns around, she's like, "You went through my garbage?" He's like, "You're garbage. I go through everyone's garbage."
Yeah,
it's like,
oh my gosh,
he's always searching.
So yeah, it is the Phantom Stranger.
Yeah, the Phantom Stranger. Yeah, sorry, he
Pandora,
fights the occult.
and the Question.
Yeah,
it's all three of them. Yeah.
All right, well, that's it. Again, Brian, the Question, buy a hair.
Buy a hair. I'll take it.
But the thing is, the thing I find funny about these things, they're becoming really hard because we're knowing how to pitch so well, and we're actually choosing really good characters.
Yeah.
And
I got to work on my closing.
I'll hire a new team.
You got to bring in your inner hate. You got to like.
You know what? That's true. Because when I go against Doc, I don't feel the same. Like
no. Like when he goes against me,
it's actually not the same. You're right. It is.
He has like guns out.
I'm too leveled when I'm with Doc, and then I lose. I just lose it. I'm too nice at the end. You know?
He takes out the shiv against me,
I
and
try to sound aggressive. Like in my head, I'm a tiger, but then to you guys, I probably look like a little kitty cat as I'm talking.
I kind of approach both of you the same because I love you guys and this is a fun show. So it's you two who have this interesting.
It brings up good writing, right? It gives up good radio.
If the fans enjoy it and prefer just you two doing this and I be the judge, I'm also down for that because it would be funny.
My gosh.
Anyways, so that's the judgment call, guys. If you guys ever have suggestions, once again, you can always comment in. If you're listening to this on Facebook or anywhere, you can comment on the Facebook page. You can comment on the site because these are always posted on franklinarmstrong.com. You can comment on the YouTube because these are also going to be posted on YouTube as well. So comment below. Tell us, the types of characters you like, who you think should have won, and if you ever have ideas of your own underrepresented characters, you can even direct message us to give us ideas and give us points for someone that you would like us to do down the road. Maybe we can make that a Patreon thing.
That's an encouragement.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
I'm down to take that Pepsi challenge.
There you go.
To take anybody.
All right.
Someone's gonna be like, My Little Pony. I'm taking it.
I'll do it for My Little Pony. So so that's that's judgment call. Now we're gonna be jumping into the review, guys. Here we are right now. We're discussing Despicable Deadpool 2017 run by Gerry Duggan and Scott Koblish. Still didn't get those right yet. Collects issues 287 to 291. It is called Deadpool Kills Cable.
Yeah.
So I have a newfound appreciation for the movies after reading this.
Which is that a positive thing?
It's a positive thing.
Okay.
Because I've said this a few times before that the movies didn't really make a mark on me.
Yeah.
And that was mostly because I didn't really read Deadpool. I knew, obviously, as a comic book fan, you know every character.
Yeah.
It's how well you know each character that matters and how much you've read into them that matters, right?
Yes, very much.
But I'm always interested in watching a comic book character's movie because why not? But seeing how, as we said earlier, all over the place and messy and just the commentaries and all the different little nuances and all the references, like everything that's happening in this little 5-issue run that we just read makes the movie make sense in the sense that I didn't understand why he was in this realm looking at his wife or his girlfriend, whatever. Did they get married? I guess they're married or engaged or whatever.
Yeah, see, I didn't know any of this stuff. I didn't know why it mattered to him that Stryfe was going to kill people. Because I was just like, Stryfe saved 4 people, so I have to kill 4 people. Okay, which 4 people did he save? Oh, family. Mm-hmm. Oh, you give a about family? That was the thing for me. Because I've said before, the version of Deadpool that I know, and I mean more first movie than second movie, because I feel like the Deadpool in the second movie is the same type of Deadpool here. The guy who actually cares about people, and I don't get me wrong.
That's the parallel I was trying to draw.
Yeah, and I'm okay with that. I know you guys, we've talked about it. For me, because we did the episode where we talked about Deadpool, Dave, you guest hosted on that one.
Yep.
Available on franklinarmstrong.com.
Great episode.
Yeah. But, I mean, for me, Deadpool has always been the type of character who, at the end of the day, I want him to still be so crazy because he knows he's in a comic book. He knows it's all fake. Mm-hmm. And even the family you have, they don't matter because none of it's real. So the fact that
that's actually what you said in the episode where we discussed Deadpool. Yeah.
So me, it's always weird
reading this. Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Tobes.
Now, I was going to say, for reading this now, that's why I said it makes more sense, and it almost like allows me to just be like, okay, like I can let it go. Like, okay, I guess I see where, if anything, they pulled that from.
Yes, the concern
that side of Deadpool from, right?
Yeah, because being someone, I mean, I know in this little triage that we have going on, I'm obviously, I would say, the Deadpool knowledge founder of sorts. For
sure.
I've been reading him like
the keeper of Deadpool's
the keeper of secrets,
Gamora.
But if you're gonna do a little mini timeline, he was definitely the James Bond assassin at first, just a killer.
Yeah.
To make jokes mercenary. As much as possible. Very dark humor. And then when
Deadpool we met in Wolverine Origins, pretty much.
Basically.
At the beginning,
before they got Baracas.
Yeah, and even hit the Deadpool at the beginning of this story, right? Because at the beginning in issue 287, he addresses the fact that, there's a lot of stories out there about me, and then he goes over his entire history, and he's just like, okay, so here we go. And then he starts telling the story.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just one of those situations where it's like, because the thing is, every time a character gets popular, and Marvel does this, DC does this, you could compare how they treat Deadpool a little bit, how they treat Harley Quinn. When you see Harley Quinn in her own book, you see that she actually has a conscience. You see that she has friends and family.
Yeah, right.
And she's still just as batshit crazy. She'll still kill people. But if you fuck with one of her friends, she's going to be there.
Gloves are off.
And that's kind of that's the only thing they did with Deadpool in the last few years. Because in the last, 45 issues or so before this, you find out that at some point in time, guy had fun one night, got a kid. He's like, because he saw a bunch of kids get killed, he's like, I can't let my kid get killed, so I'm going to take care of this person. There's one SHIELD agent that he had to work with to clean up his name, who he kind of befriends, and then she takes in that kid, and basically the family, the people that Stryfe saves from dying is his kid, plus...
And Stryfe, for anyone listening, is a clone of Cable.
Yeah, the evil clone of Cable, who actually tried to frame him for a Professor X death way back when. So Stryfe saves his daughter, the girl who took in his daughter, her husband, and her two kids, because you find out that the friend that he made, her body gets destroyed at one point, and her conscience is put into a robot that looks exactly like her, which you do see at the end of this run. Which, if you guys were wondering, that's what it was.
So that's one thing I will say about this comic that I was a little annoyed about is you do need prior information.
Oh, yeah.
To understand certain aspects of it.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that. I mean, comic books are like soap operas or like dramas. If you jump in the middle, it's hard at first, but if you keep going, you'll eventually catch up because they'll make reference to enough stuff in the past. But for this one, because it's the start of the arc,
it's a start of an arc, but a conclusion of an entire series.
Yeah.
That's how I would describe this.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Because it's the start of a new arc that's leading into, I guess they're aiming to get to number 300, so they started back at 287. When you start reading it, you're just like, oh, okay, I know that Deadpool went after Cable in the past, so that's good enough, and they reference that, and cool. But then as it goes along and you're finding out about family, see, everything you just explained about family, none of that came through to me in the comic book pages.
None. We're just supposed to understand that Stryfe, Cable's evil clone, saved Deadpool's family, whoever they are, and now Deadpool owes him 4 lives in return. And for whatever reason, Deadpool's like, okay, cool, thanks for saving them. I owe you 4 lives now, and this is where we're at.
Tobes, do you think because you and I are comic book fans and because we like to know the full story that this bothers us more than it would for a casual reader? Because what you just described right now, to me, sounds like enough information to tell the story. But for us, it's not enough.
It's not enough for us, and I'm not actually certain that it's enough for the casual reader.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
As well. I think it would be worse for them because, A, they wouldn't know who Stryfe is, or even have the right frame of mind to understand that concept.
Yeah.
But at this point...
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because the one thing about this issue, and this is something that's a little bit more rare, especially for Deadpool. Deadpool is usually something that you don't need anything. When you read a regular Deadpool issue, and I'm talking about him anywhere, not just in his own comics. It's very rare that you actually need continuity.
True.
Which is one that I brought this comic book up because, I mean, again, people have to know that this is like recorded in advance. We all just saw the movie.
Yeah.
It's one reason why I suggested it, because there's the Cable involved. But this is one of those ones where I thought there's a lot of character development. There's a lot of interesting things you find out about Deadpool, and you also find about Cable.
Yeah.
There's a lot about Cable in here. There's actually a lot of exposition in here that kind of explain Cable's life and his interactions with himself in different versions of himself in different times, different realities. Cable is all. That's a good way to put it. Yeah. And so it's funny, at any given moment, the version of Cable you know may not be the version of Cable you know.
Exactly. And that's one, because I
going back and forth between time. It's crazy.
And I'm happy because I know that Tobes is a big fan of him, so that's the other reason why I had suggested this. But the thing about this book, what I also liked about it is that, because there are some things that, like, it's hard to, some of the comments that you guys are making, it's a little hard for me to judge because this is on my pull list. This is something I've been reading. So, like, the things you're complaining about, I have to take through. It's like, okay, what if you didn't read everything that I know of?
Yeah.
So I agree with how those annoyances could be there. The things I do like about Deadpool, though, in these issues, it's a very easy read. The cool thing about Deadpool is you don't get much often internal thoughts. Like, unless they're having an issue where he's actually fighting, because he's at one point in time he did have two voices in his brain and they were like arguing. It's a very fun, easy read to do. It's not something it's one of those comic books that the images is what's speaking to you. It's not the dialogues.
Yeah, well, that's
exactly.
Tobi,
That's why I said earlier. It's just like it's straightforward. You know, the action is leading to an end every time. They wrap up as quickly as they start.
And there's other little, and because we're talking about throwbacks, because this thing does have a lot of throwbacks. You know, the whole Cable Stryfe thing, things like that. Actually, one of the things I love about this book, when I actually got it the first time, the first cover, I had that toy. Yeah, I don't know if you know, cool. there's because in the first cover you have Deadpool looking all menacing, and he's pulling apart a toy from
a Cable action figure.
And I was there, I'm like, wait a minute. And I researched Cable toys. I'm like, I fucking had that toy. Because the gun is what, like, you see him holding a gun. I'm like, I had that toy. I know I had that toy.
That's hilarious.
And it's just little things like that about it.
Deadpool is aware that there's a Cable toy out there.
Exactly, right?
Right?
So it's just cool. It's fun. Like, exactly right there. We could research it. It's like one of the first toys.
I mean, we're going to make it the cover of the episode so people will see it.
But so I like that. I like, Cable is something that's lighthearted and you don't have to take it seriously, which I find this is what goes through the whole book. There's some jokes that, and the thing, I guess it's also a reset to because if you were reading beforehand, the issues beforehand, and you see it in this one, he becomes a little soft, right? You feel like he's soft a little bit. Like Deadpool.
Okay.
Because he's caring and stuff, right? But in this book, there's constant times that they pull you back. No, he's an asshole. Like, you don't know, but he's like, example, every time he fights Stryfe with Cable, he always backstabs Cable. Because at the end of the day, he's like, oh, wait, if I hurt you right now, you're going to fuck up my shit? I don't care, Cable. I'll shoot you in the brain.
Yeah, he turns on him immediately.
Yeah, exactly. I
mean, there's even a scene where he's in a crowd and he starts, like, shooting at people in the crowd, and the guy's calling 911, and the dude's just like, oh my god, they're shooting, and then he shoots at the guy, and the guy's like, oh, I think I was wrong, it wasn't Deadpool, it was Punisher. Yeah, it was the Punisher I saw shooting, and he ran away already. And you're like, that actually made me laugh a little.
That was when he was in the streets and he was shooting a bunch of agents, I think, and then the newspaper stand guy calls the cops.
Yeah.
He's like, and then Deadpool's like, snitches get stitches,
bitches. Yes. That wasn't. See, all of that was a good line.
Towards him, yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of fun little lines, and he's a rated M or rated R, I should say, Spider-Man in terms of commentary. Spider-Man also makes the same kind of commentaries, but he doesn't actually take it to that level ever.
It's funny because that's the exact comparison they do.
Yeah.
Was that what you were going to say?
I was going to say that, and on top of that, they also make a comment of when Deadpool is coming in to get Cable out, and he's telling the agent Salcedo from the Time Variance Authority, and he starts telling him, he's just like, the scariest thing about Deadpool though, when he's quiet. And I was just like, oh damn.
Yeah.
And then they're just showing Deadpool killing all the other agents and he's not talking, and I was just like, yo, that is kind of a scary thought to think of Deadpool not talking, because he's always talking. Because remember, for me, once again, it always comes back to the fact that he knows he's in a comic book. And when he starts to do that thing where he's quiet, it always makes me think like, so maybe he's having a lucid moment or actually an insane moment, because that's the thing.
I would say it's an insane moment.
Yes.
The reason why is because he is someone who knows he is practically immortal.
Yeah.
Yep.
He is already unhinged because he was already, military minded. He probably has some PTSD, whatever. His mind was probably already fractured before this whole ability came about. So I think he's just like, screw it, I can't die. Why can't I just have fun doing this?
Yeah.
Like, that's pretty much how I see Deadpool.
But then when he goes into that focus where he gets quiet, that's a scary thought, and I thought that was really interesting.
Because it's like one of those things where it's like it's kind of like it's a little bit comparable to like the Joker. Like if the Joker is always like, they're always having fun. They don't give a shit.
Yeah.
And if you do something to them that makes them give a shit and makes them focus, you're all of a sudden like, I don't want to be on that side. I want to be on your side of the fence. Yeah. Because if I don't even want to be near you, because maybe you're going to burn your side just to burn the other side. But I'd rather be on your side.
Yeah.
And you actually see that in him. So in this story, Cable gets arrested by the Time Variance Authority, which is just like a sort of authority put in place to stop people from breaking timelines and whatever, or messing with the time. Yeah.
Did it throw you off that they kept referring to them as TVA? Every time.
Being Quebec.
Anyone who's outside of... Yeah, sorry, Tobi, what was it you just said?
No, you go ahead. I was going to explain what it was, but you can go.
Anyone outside of Quebec, TVA is a network here. Télévision Action something? Something like that. But the initials are TVA, so TVA. Yeah. So the whole time I was reading the comic book, every time they referred to the Time Variance Authority, I was just like, the Channel 5? Every time I tried my best.
5 or 35.
Yeah, something exactly. Oh man, that was so funny. Anyway, sorry. So yeah, the Time Variance Authority.
So they arrested Cable just after and just before they arrested Cable, he was fighting Deadpool, and Deadpool had just cut off Cable's arm.
Ooh, that
Cable uses to time travel.
Yes. He hacks it, which was cool.
And this arm has a AI built into it, but we can touch on that later. Anyway, so when Cable actually gets arrested and taken in, you find out that Deadpool has actually stolen tech from the Avengers that they've used to defeat Ultron. And this tech actually will allow him to find out where Cable is. So Deadpool is not stupid.
No,
he may be crazy. He may be all these things that we see, especially in the movie, but they never actually, this is something that I realized, they never actually touch on his intelligence. They always make him seem like this goof and this oaf.
That's a good point.
Which is fine because he is that, but he's also smart. Like, it takes some sort of intelligence for you to know to go in and hack and steal tech.
Yeah.
From the Avengers.
From
Tony Stark.
Yeah. When Cable's explaining the whole thing to the TVA agent.
While he's under lockdown.
Yeah, while he's locked down. And he's explaining step by step. He's just like... And it was actually really cool because he's just like, when Deadpool finally shows up, he says, I figured it would take about 2 weeks for you to do everything, but you'd show up a couple minutes after I left.
Yes.
And the way he breaks it down, to the agent when he's explaining all the steps, and they're showing the panels of what Cable's describing, and you're like Cable knows Deadpool's intelligent.
But he's
telling you, he's just like, listen, he doesn't say it, but essentially it's just like, you guys think he's stupid, but that guy is really fucking smart.
Well, it's because Cable...
It won't take him long to figure out how to switch the AI in my arm and time travel. That's what he said.
Yeah.
But the thing is, he actually says, because Cable's... I would argue that Cable's known to be an intelligent person.
Oh, I would... Yeah.
But he actually starts off by saying, you know what I would do? And he starts saying it, and he's like, but you know what Deadpool's going to do? He's going to do all that, but it's going to be bloodier.
Yeah.
It's going to be faster because he's not going to be nice or anything. Yeah. He's going to steal and pillage. And, like, to his point, eventually, like, the last time that he double-crosses Cable to get Cable out of the picture, he actually looks at him and says, yeah, one of the times I went back in time is I went to Hope, which is Cable's daughter, and it's like, I put a bomb in her brain. So if you don't leave now, I'm going to set it off.
Yeah.
And you got to figure out where in time... because like
Yeah.
that like saying that
that's
I did
pretty
it at some
nasty.
point in time, that means it could be when she was born, it could be yesterday, it could have been so he has to find when it happened to stop him.
But that's the other thing. So, I mean, if anything, I get that they're trying to show that Deadpool, like, because the whole story is also Deadpool is selfish.
Oh yeah,
He's quote unquote cares about this family, but he's also so selfish that this is all about him finally having something normal as in a family, and he's just like, I'm gonna keep it that way, and I'm willing to kill everyone else to get to have
That's
it.
the insane part of
That's
it, right?
the crazy part. You're telling me you put a bomb in Hope's brain, knowing that that's Cable's child, and you've been friends with Cable almost
Years.
your entire run of your
Yeah.
character. You either have been trying to kill him or you've been one of his best friends.
yeah.
And
He's
you're
he's willing to throw it all away for his own. That's
Exactly.
why he's also selfish. He's so
Yeah.
many things.
Yeah.
There's
It's
so
layered.
many.
It's very
I
layered.
like this. It's very layered, but I like this Deadpool more than I do the movies.
yeah.
Well, because this is a Deadpool. This is legit a Deadpool 30 years in the making. That's what this is. And the
it's
thing
caught up to
like because I
okay.
feel like you had the evil version of him. Now you had the good let's quote unquote there, the good version of him. And now it's like, okay, now you really want to know how he thinks. That's what these issues are.
Yeah.
This is how he processes
And not
things.
just how he thinks, but how everyone else knows and thinks he thinks. And you're going to get to see all these different angles to Deadpool that
Exactly.
you've never seen before.
And I think Gerry Duggan wrote him better than I've seen other people write him.
Yeah.
Because I have to
would
say,
agree.
I have to say, one of the things that really bothered me was when he was A, with the Avengers, and B, when he was with Steve Rogers,
Captain Hydra.
Captain America, the twisted Steve Rogers. Because when I remember when he was
He who
working
shall
for
not
him. Sorry?
I said, "He who shall not be named."
Yeah,
Evan.
essentially, yeah, pretty much. I was trying to say it, but I realized we're a podcast, so if I don't say it, people will be like, I don't know what you're talking about. So, yeah, Nick Spencer's Captain America is what I should call him. The idiotic Captain America. But yeah, Deadpool, at that point, the way they wrote that version of Deadpool was he was so loyal to Captain America because his idea was Cap is the embodiment of truth, justice, and the American way, that if he thinks this is the right way to do it, I trust him. And he went out of his way to do. He even kills Phil Coulson for him, which puts a huge target on his back in the storyline down the road with regards to Quake and the whole Secret Warriors. And that's one of the things that, like, this version of Deadpool is interesting. X-Force version of Deadpool, I also like.
The Uncanny X-Force.
Uncanny
Yeah,
X-Force.
that was actually the thing. That's the comic book. For a while, I was out of comic books. That was A, the comic book that brought me back into comic books. B, at the time, I was reading a lot of different things. Deadpool at that point actually had a few associations and whatnot.
Yeah.
That is the one I'm like, this is all the other ones I got it wrong. This one,
So my question though, because I don't really know much about Deadpool, and I think some people probably have the same question, is when he joins these teams, A, does he kill, and B, is he nice?
Well, Uncanny X-Force, because that's the, like, Black Ops team for the mutants.
Yeah, that's fine. I know that's why
brutally
Dave
murders.
likes it, because he can do that.
Uh,
so I'm wondering in the
When he's
other
on,
teams.
when he's on the Avengers, no, they stop him from killing.
He does not kill in their presence.
Yes, exactly.
Because he'll be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go get the information. He could brutally torture someone and kill them and be like, oh yeah, no, like here's a picture of them, like all healthy.
Yeah.
That's like
true.
a few days before.
Yeah, one of the things that they do is the way they write him is that he's still a savage, but the teammate never sees him that way. But he's also good because in that when he's with the Avengers team and the mutants actually needed his help and Cable is doing all this covert stuff and Rogue is like secretly kind of working with Cable in that story arc, Deadpool actually does I actually couldn't tell. He like turns on them, but is also working for both sides.
He is a quadruple agent.
Yeah,
he's
man.
someone who I feel like, you know what's weird? You know how because we were talking about like the question and this and that.
Yeah.
When you think you know someone who I think he always sees the end game or the end thing he wants.
Yeah.
And he'll like, whereas a lot of people are like, no, we're going to straight line. He's like, no, I don't like doing straight lines. So I'm going to curve all around.
I'll play on every team. I'll do all these different things.
And I'll figure out the best solution for every, for the best solution for everyone right after I figure out what the best solution is for myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
And other things that I just want to say, like, that help bring him to his craziness, just because you were talking on some points that weren't necessarily in these issues. Other things that are messed up in these issues, you find out that the mother of his child is brutally murdered. You find out that there was actually a person who kept on beating him up to a point of unconsciousness and gathering his organs. There was
wait, that happens in this story?
No, it's part of the build up to this.
Oh, okay.
Because like you're wondering why he's like
part.
a little off hinge.
Okay, yeah.
And there's another part that makes him off hinge. And this is actually the reason why I think he cares so much about family now. Is you find out in the issues leading up to this that a task force that was actually led by Sabretooth manipulated Deadpool to like basically essentially be a Manchurian candidate of sorts, and he brutally killed his own parents.
Oh, okay.
Like he burns them to the ground. He burns his old house and his parents to the ground.
Yeah, so
just to give on like the reason why he might now, because like he seems to have a conscience about. I think that's the reason. Like example, that is the reason why I don't think he cares for his family as much as he's like, I don't like having a cause and effect that I wasn't in charge of. So like, oh, I have a daughter. I never knew I had a daughter. I don't like that I have something that's like that should have been. If I had a choice, I would have never been my choice. But since I have it, I'm going to take care of it.
Okay,
that's as much.
It's interesting. I think what's more important here though is that he's aware of it.
Yeah, completely aware.
Yeah.
I'll always say the most interesting characters to me in DC and in Marvel are the Joker and Deadpool. Only because if by the logic that they're aware they're characters in a comic book, and that makes them hyper aware, and everything they do is either both perfectly logical in the sense that because they know it has no actual real effect on the future is fine, or they're also just insane caused by the fact that they know their characters. Who knows? But it makes them two of the most interesting characters. I don't know if it's been set that the Joker is. I know it's been discussed, but it's never been. But I've never heard it said like for a fact from DC, like yes, the Joker is aware. Whereas Deadpool actively breaks the fourth wall and references. You know, this one even starts with him referencing, "I'm a handsome like a young Ryan Reynolds." Yeah. Like he makes jokes like that. Yeah. So he's not even just aware. He's in this time. Yep. He's aware that Ryan Reynolds is playing him in movies, like it's,
or that Ryan Reynolds is him.
Yes, you know, like all that stuff.
You know, that's really him breaking the fourth wall. He somehow jumped from the pages and is possessing Ryan Reynolds as we speak.
Oh, God. Okay, so October prediction.
Ryan Reynolds brutally murders a bunch of people.
Manchurian candidate straight from the comic. Good God.
We didn't really touch on it much, but what did you guys think about the fact that his arm is pretty much sentient?
It's the artificial intelligence in his arm,
Bell?
which is which I thought was cool. I actually liked when the little Deadpool was like trying to beat her up. There's actually another comic book where I'm not sure is it in this one. He tries to like make out with her and she's all like, "No, leave me alone."
Because in this one he like immediately gets her and then like locks her away. Yeah, and then starts running the program so that he can control the arm. And then Cable comes back and uses his magic words to unlock
to beat himself up.
Yeah, that was
punching himself in the balls. Was
that
great.
was pretty funny. That was pretty funny. But yeah, no. So that's the one, and I didn't bring it up, but now that you brought it up, I will say the one thing that I found a little ridiculous. Deadpool cuts his own arm off and slaps this one just on. He doesn't.
It's the nanotech thing that happens.
Okay, well that's not properly explained.
I'm saying,
I
technovirus.
Like, it's actually, I see why you're saying that, actually, Doc, because it's easy to forget that later on when Cable is putting the arm on, they actually show the nanotech connecting his limbs. But they don't show it. When Deadpool just looks like he just slaps it on like a toy arm.
When Cable does it, they show you both sides reconnecting. So he has the metallic techno-organic virus on his body, and his arm's been pulled off, so when he puts the arm back, it starts to fuse back. No problem. I 100% accepted that. But when I see Deadpool stab a katana into a wall, then takes his whole body weight and slices his arm off, then grabs the arm and just pops it on and immediately
it's like an action figure, dude. Come on.
Yeah.
If we're gonna talk about Deadpool, it's like an action figure. You can do it as a kid. You can do it now.
It was just. I thought that scene. I remember reading that scene and being like, "Wait, what the hell is going on? How is he just popping?"
And I feel like in the movies, if he did this in the movie about to cut his arm off, it would freeze as just when his arm is coming off, and it'd say, "Listen, I know normally this is impossible.
Yeah,
but this is my movie. This is my world."
Exactly. I can do what I want.
Just enjoy the ride. Yeah, exactly, or something like that.
Yes. See, if he had done that in the comic book and been like, "Don't ask too many questions," I just slapped it on. I would have been like, "You got me."
Exactly. See, there are moments to capitalize on breaking the fourth wall. And that was it. So remember how in the movie I felt some moments to me weren't needed.
Yeah.
I had named a couple, and one of them being the whole Shears of CGI fight coming. I'm like,
yeah.
Okay, you know, like I know you can break the fourth wall, but I didn't need that one. Everything else before that was okay.
Yeah,
you know, like so your comedic timing would have been perfect, like in this situation here. Yeah. But yeah, anyway,
I agree with that.
Overall, they did a great job with this one. I really enjoyed this read a lot.
Yeah,
I read it in no time.
At first, the first issue I didn't enjoy it, but when I read all of them together, I enjoyed the arc itself.
Because you know what it is, Deadpool, kind of like myself, is a bit of a slow burn. He's someone that you see from far. He's ugly, a little intimidating. And you're like, I don't know, and then you start talking like, he's very lovely. He's got a great sense of humor.
Hilarious.
Hey, me and Deadpool are at the we're connected at the hip. Ryan Reynolds, you're my other than killing Shatterstar. Ryan Reynolds, you're my boy.
Oh boy. All right, so that's our review. We're gonna be going into our next segment. I actually have an idea for this one: best, fave, worst.
Okay.
So I feel like, and I'll preface it with this: we've all watched numerous animated incarnations of the teams, the Justice League and stuff like that, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So either we can do best, fave, worst animated universe, or best, fave, worst Justice League Unlimited character. Which one do you guys prefer?
I'm down to do both of those. So keep one for the next time.
Okay.
And whichever one you guys prefer to do this time. But instead of universe, just say team though, because you can't say like for the just say which animated team. Because if you say universe, that could be like, it's not fair to compare, like, let's say a Fantastic Four universe, which might be smaller than if you compare to, like, let's say the X-Men animated series, which had much more seasons and got to see much more. So I'd say focus on the team. Okay, that's fine. Okay. On the animated team.
So in any imprint, right?
Yeah. Or individual, because you could say like X-Men or Spider-Man, like that would be
animated, none of it is
like TV show.
Or I could even go like Voltron.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
As long as it's 2D drawn.
Yes.
We'll say that.
Okay.
Because like there are some 3D animated, not those. Like you can't choose like the Green Lanterns that they had recently.
Why not?
Okay, if you want.
2D, 3D animated series based on heroes. Best, fave, worst.
Cool. I already know. I know
Astro
for
Boy. All of those
my
ones.
worst is already.
So you guys want to do that one? So we're doing the teams. Yeah. So teams also, not individuals.
Okay. So that's also not in the next time will be an individual one. Now we're doing teams. Okay.
So this one is teams. So it would be like the Fantastic Four, the X-Men, the Justice Leagues, the Teen Titans, the Young Justice, Voltrons, all of those. Did Power Rangers ever do an animated version? No, they didn't. No, so too bad for them. But all of those.
Sweep those guys on the.
Have we ever had? I'm trying to think of like. Oh, and yes, we can use the one team that everyone loves, Spider-Man and Friends.
Oh my god! Hey, no hate on that. Okay, that wasn't gonna be one of mine, but like, don't hate on that. That's notable mentions right there.
I'll go with my worst team right off the bat. I'm gonna go with Super Friends.
Okay,
as the worst team for me, mainly because. I guess maybe the first incarnation. It's just like one of those things where like this was back 73, I think 72. It was kind of old.
Essentially, the rough draft was bad.
Yeah. Well, the rough and then the rough drafts after that were bad too. There's just no who was writing this and who were they writing it for? That's always my question back. Like when they started superheroes and stuff like that, it was so. I can't believe they actually got to a better point is what I'm trying to say. When you watch back and you're like, wow, it's just stupid. There's no substance to it. Like the old Spider-Man comics for TV shows, for example, animated show, for example, where like he can turn his web into a truck.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like there was just nothing. There was no logic. There was no real imagination really to these things.
Yeah.
So as far as the worst team and what they were capable of, I'm going to go with Super Friends for me.
Okay.
I actually have my whole lineup, so I'll go last.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I know. You guys hit on like the thing that's like the thing I nerd about. So like you guys can go first.
So my worst for me, and having watched, I mean, we all watched most of them, and I was just double checking the name, Hulk and the Agents of Smash.
Oh my god, yeah, that's terrible. That's so bad.
So the reason I think that one is so bad is because I think what they were trying to do was The Office meets superhero show. Also cross that with the Spider-Man universe. Like, so you know how they had that...
And a little bit of Harvey Birdman there, maybe?
Yeah. So, you know, like, at one point they had that Spider-Man universe, animated universe, where, like, all these other Marvel shows were happening. Like, they had the Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Heroes, they had a Spider-Man series, they had the Hulk, Agents of Smash, and they would sometimes cross over. And what happened is, the thing that got messed up, though, is this Hulk Smash, Agents of Smash team, their world was done like a bad reality TV show, and it bothered me because it felt like the show was being done so that kids could get used to reality TV structure so that they could turn around and watch reality TV shows. It felt like they were preparing young minds to be like, this is a structure of a talking head interview after something's happened. Like, and it was like, I was like, why are you doing this for kids? Why would kids want to watch the Hulk sit down and explain Hulk smash, Red Hulk help, not understand brain, why? It's like, why are you doing this? So that's why that one was the worst for me. That was the worst.
There was almost no point. It was actually almost as bad as what was that Spider-Man one they were doing at the same time?
Yeah, that's I don't remember the name, but yeah,
was it Ultimate Spider-Man?
Something like that. Well, it was the one where Spider-Man was on a team with like an Iron Fist, a Luke Cage, and
Human Torch.
Oh no, you're talking about a different one, because I'm talking about the one where Spider-Man was on a team, and it was around the same time as Hulk, Agents of Smash. It was Spider-Man, Luke Cage, Nova, Iron Fist. Yes.
And he kept interacting with Nick Fury every other episode.
Yeah, because he was actually being trained to be an Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.
An Avenger. Oh, no, you're right.
Yeah.
An Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. Yeah.
And I watched that one, and I was just like, oh, I don't... Like, even that whole universe to me annoyed me, because even the Spider-Man...
You know what they try to do? They try to make it look like Teen Titans.
Yes.
And it didn't work out at all.
Yes. It was like a cross between... I'll even one up it. It was a cross between doing the Teen Titans thing with the Young Justice thing. Because they did try to make it...
It's going to be my worst team, I think, now then.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're right. Because I tried to give it a chance, and I just could not.
Yeah, it felt like it fell short. It really did.
Yeah.
And I'd like to point out, honorable mention for worst to Teen Titans Go. And I say that I say that
as a bad thing.
Yeah, because
they're entertaining.
Yeah,
because that's not supposed to be
serious.
serious.
I wouldn't put them as bad. It was watchable. It was way more watchable than the Spider-Man we were talking about.
Yes, but the reason I am annoyed with Teen Titans Go is because what it replaced.
What did it replace?
Because there was already the Teen Titans before, with the exact same more serious version.
Oh, I remember what you're talking about.
Because, and I mean, Jaws D, shout outs to Jaws D on Geektastic Cypher, who's brought this up to us on numerous occasions. All of these shows, and I mean, if you guys ever watched The Toys That Made Us season 1, you know that a lot of these cartoons were started because they were trying to sell action figures. Yep. That was always the big plan. So that the Teen Titans, the original one, didn't sell action figures. The team was more serious. They had a older fan base. Those fans
they looked. You can tell by the audience just trying to attract by what the animation looks like.
Yeah. So when they did that one and it wasn't working, they're just like, oh, we have to make something that looks like Flapjack or Gumball or any of those other Cartoon Networks series that is, quirky and crazy and weird, and the kids will love it. So then we got Teen Titans Go, and that's why I feel like they did, I say worse, not because... I get that the show's not supposed to be serious, but it did a disservice to the characters, because this is the equivalent of in 66 when they did the first Batman. I'm not saying the first Batman is a bad series, but the whole campiness made the characters hard to relate
digest
to.
sometimes.
Take seriously.
Exactly.
But Teen
There
Titans.
were almost no. It took away from the real stakes.
Exactly.
So all you're doing is just watching something go down, knowing that it's going to turn out well. No one's going to die. No one's going to get
there's
seriously
never.
hurt.
I mean,
like for example, when something when the characters interacting. Let's say for example, Beast Boy is interacting with Starfire.
yeah.
Says something to insult him in the moment. All of a sudden, he's going to get a big head on the screen with like a teardrop at the top of his head, and his eyes turn into X's. You know, it's just like one of those. It's like an anime sort of moment.
Yeah.
But Teen Titans Go, if you ask me, is the DC answer to SpongeBob. That's how I see it.
Yeah, all of those.
So that's why I don't see it as like I get what your point is, but I don't see
like
it as,
I said,
I wouldn't put in the worst category.
If you had a well, I mean, it's definitely not a best or favorite though. The only other
That's
category
true.
is worse.
That's true.
Like I can't put it in an honorable mention for best or favorites. It has to go into worst because
I just got lawyered.
And the Spider-Man series we were talking about was actually Ultimate Spider-Man.
it's called Ultimate. Okay, there you go. So and
I can't believe they wasted Ultimate Spider-Man on that.
Yeah, and you're calling
That's
that your
Miles
worst.
Morales right there. That's definitely the worst. Yes.
Okay.
So in most recent memory, that's definitely the worst.
So for me, I know all of mine. So worst definitely for me is the Fantastic Four with Herbie.
Oh, the little robot?
Yeah, it was like around the same time that the old school Hulk was made.
Yeah,
it was actually the same time as the Star Trek cartoon TV show, which was also bad. But that show sucked balls.
Is Herbie the one that looks like Eva from WALL-E? Like okay, that's what I thought.
And his you know who he replaces on the show? Human Torch is not on the show.
Oh,
the coolest, funnest part about Fantastic Four, I'm sorry, and you take that out to give me Herbie, the piece of shit robot that no one likes and sounds like this. Hi guys, this is how we're doing things now, and this is how we're gonna finish it. No, screw that show, burn it to the ground. That's my.
It is terrible. Again, really, this was anything 1970s guys was just like.
It's a little unfair to bring it up, but it's. I'm sorry, it's up there.
I brought up Super Friends, so so I understand.
And I will say, I think, and it's because it came out around the same time as the Batman animated series, and since we're doing teams, I can't mention it, but I think the best team is the X-Men animated series from the 90s. Because
that was going to be my choice.
Yeah, me too.
It's because you have all the right team members on.
Yeah.
You do not sacrifice team members.
No.
They bring in all the right guest team members.
Yep.
Like your Morphs of the
all
World,
the stories,
Iceman, X Factor is in it.
Dude, and with that, bring in all the right stories.
Yeah.
All the right stories and do them right.
Yeah, from episode, I can't believe how perfect. This is
Phoenix
perfect.
Saga. Just that word. Phoenix Saga was done almost to a T, and that's what I looked at people and like, this is how you're supposed to, like, don't make movies, just take these scripts and make the movies from these scripts.
We've had this
the Age of Apocalypse Saga was even better.
Yeah. We've had this conversation. We had this conversation on Geektastic where we said the exact same thing. Why don't you just take, and Skinny's the one that says it all the time, you guys had these perfect stories, why didn't you just make these into the movies?
So definitely,
yeah, that's true. My quote is, you had all this material.
You
choose to do the wrong things.
Yeah.
So definitely the best, and then by definition, my favorite. It is actually that and Batman the Animated Series are the first two things I watched as animated. So I think X-Men would also be my favorite, tied with the Justice League.
Yeah,
because the Justice League again is one. And I say that because it's essentially the same thing. Justice League is the same thing in the X-Men in the sense that you got all the right characters. You didn't screw up any characters. Sure, some people could argue, oh, I wish it would have been a different Green Lantern or something like that. Whatever. Take that aside. That's real nerd picking at that point.
Yeah.
And then another notable... which was the other one I wanted to... The Earth's Mightiest Heroes was another notable mention. I think
Earth's Mightiest, yeah.
That's what it is right there. It's
my favorite team-ups, I would say... I'm biased, but I would say really any team-up with Spider-Man. has to be my favorite team-up.
That's a lot of...
That is a lot. You're right. Even there's a Spider-Man and Deadpool. You know that.
Yeah.
With the cartoon?
There's when Spider-Man is on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or whatever, he has an episode called Spider-Pool or something like that.
Oh, okay.
It's apparently really, really good. I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, so just we all know Spider-Man as a character. He's so dynamic. He's fun. Because he's this naive little kid mentally sometimes. Yeah. His interactions with different characters, they just never really take him seriously enough. But that itself poses a challenge with the challenge that they're facing, which makes the story even more of like, he's always proving himself.
Yeah.
In every story, I find Spider-Man is always out to prove himself, and it makes the story interesting.
What show is he actually on a team all the time? Or are you saying that one when he's with the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because he's essentially with someone every week? You're claiming that that's like the show.
Well, I mean, that Ultimate Spider-Man is a team, but that you said that was your worst because it was the worst
That one
representation.
is my worst, and we're going to leave that as my worst. But I guess I'm saying, you're right.
Because we were saying individuals, right? Because I'm down to do the individuals argument another time. So
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
okay,
definitely have to do it another time.
Yeah, never mind. I'll take that one. I'll save that one.
So, well, for me, I'll say, so we did agree, we all ended up agreeing that X-Men was the best.
For sure.
I mean,
Yes.
we can all say that. I put Justice League very close up there with best. Very, very close, because I
Yeah.
think, especially when it gets to
you can't
Justice
take that away.
Yeah, especially when you get to Unlimited, the amount of characters, it's the same thing. It's the same structure. You gave us all the right characters at the right time. You gave us all the best stories you could tell. You added some much needed diversity to the characters and much needed background to a lot of the characters. That at other times was not given. For me, favorites, I would say it's Young Justice is one of my favorites.
something I want to watch. Still, I haven't got a chance. I really
so
want to
good.
watch it.
Yeah, Young Justice decided to take over the mantle, I felt, of what Teen Titans had done. So Teen Titans leaves, you get Teen Titans Go, and then Young Justice comes in, and it's like it pretty much takes over the mantle and does.
They're giving us that mature feel again.
Yeah.
Teen Titans would be just preteen. They're preteen Titans.
Yeah. But yeah, Young Justice, and what that led me to read the Young Justice comic book, which actually has some super interesting storylines, which they touch on in Young Justice. So like the Lex Luthor as the half of the DNA, there's a whole story arc in the Young Justice comic about a future where, you know, Lex is essentially runs the Justice League. And it's like
when you say, I guess for those listening, when you say Lex Luthor is half of the DNA, he's half of
Superman, Superboy's DNA. Sorry.
Superboy DNA.
Yes. Sorry, that's true because you never watched. Yeah.
That's okay.
I mean, and that's not. I mean, it's not really a spoiler because in the comic book,
I would end up rewatching
this.
If I start watching the show, I'm gonna end up rewatching it like 5 times. Like I already saw
that itself should make you go, "Oh, Lex Luthor have DNA with like trust me."
Yeah.
It's a really,
Young
really
Justice. The anime. I always. My precursor to any time I watch an animated series is the sleekness and how good for what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
And Young Justice, when I saw I was like, oh, whatever, Young Justice. When I saw an episode, I'm like, oh, wow, this is an amazing, it's Batman, X-Men, Justice League level art. That's why I gravitate to right away.
And then so for my favorite, I think Young Justice is my favorite. I think X-Men and Justice League is the second, and then for worst,
I think honorable mention for favorites, since I kind of use my favorite up with Spider-Man and everyone because I just love Spider-Man so much. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, man.
Oh yeah,
which one though?
OG.
Original? I think I'm gonna have to go with OG here.
Okay.
Both are amazing. I'll do honorable mentions to both because the TMNT one that was in like the 2000s, was
not the time travel one.
No,
that was horrible. If anything, I'd put that on my worst.
You mean
list.
the TMNT the movie Forever?
No. They have a cartoon where the Ninja Turtles live in the future.
Oh no,
and it's like April O'Neil's great grandchild. No. And they don't have to hide because aliens live on Earth, so they walk around.
Screw that noise.
Yeah, it was really bad.
No, there's one called TMNT. Actually, the best Turtles movie is actually based off of that. It's called TMNT Forever. And it's when the 2000s Ninja Turtles meet the original Ninja Turtles, and then you actually go through the different. It accumulates to them meeting the original black and white Ninja Turtles. It's actually an amazing movie.
Okay.
But the TMNT one was
animated
cool.
movie.
Yeah, completely animated. The thing that's cool about the TMNT, I would say it is the Justice League version of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's very adult.
Oh, okay.
And like Shredder and Krang are like something to really be
Turtles Forever. It's a movie.
Yeah, but the TV show that's based off, because that's like the conclusion of the TV show.
Okay.
So like if you just write TMNT, like they have a whole series. I didn't watch every single one, but like every time I watch an episode, if I caught it on TV, I stopped doing what I was doing.
That's awesome. Okay, well, guys, that's our best, favorite, worst. Once again, if you guys are watching this on or listening to this on YouTube or on franklinarmstrong.com or anywhere else that you're listening to it, anywhere that you want to leave comments, you can go on franklinarmstrong.com is the site, or hit us up on the YouTube, or hit us up on the Facebook page and leave comments and give us ideas for other best, favorite, worst that we can do.
Encourage that.
Please do, please do.
And you know what? Before we end it, shout out Suicide Squad. You used to be on my list.
Yeah.
And I hope they bring you guys back. The right way.
Yeah.
That's all I gotta say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, other conversation.
Yeah.
Tangents.
Yeah.
And going into final thoughts, guys, once again, we are doing Despicable Deadpool 2017, issues 287 to 291, written by Gerry Duggan and pencil by Scott Koblish. Koblish. Close enough, Brad. Close enough.
Is it 2 B's?
1 B. So
I'd
I'd
say Scott Koblish.
Koblish? Scott Koblish. There you go.
I'll let you guys do your final thoughts first. I'm interested in your guys' thoughts.
Yeah. Okay, Tobes.
My thoughts on this, I didn't really like. You know what? My predisposed bias to Deadpool was definitely, I would say, taken apart a bit reading this. At first, I was like, oh, like Doc, the first issue, I was like, oh, okay, I see where this is going. I might not like where this is going, but then it kind of it kept my interest. It showed me a different side to Deadpool that I didn't know existed, which is really what's good about this.
And then for me, as someone who doesn't know a lot about Cable, and like Toby was saying, you get a lot of exposition about Cable. This gave me a lot about Cable. Like, I honestly did not know 90% of the stuff about Cable. I didn't know his arm had AI. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I knew his relationship with Hope, but I didn't know how. I didn't know he considered her. It's his actual daughter. Because I thought it wasn't his actual daughter.
I think it's. I know that he takes care of her since she's a kid.
Okay.
So I don't know if it's blood, but he considers her his daughter.
I shouldn't say it that way because the world we live in, if you raise a child and you care for that child, the child's entire life, you're the father. You're not just.
Well,
it doesn't have to be by.
I think it is because it's Hope Summers and he's Nathan Summers.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah, but
because I always hear people describe Hope as his daughter. And Hope, when Hope does her whole story arc in the where she's taking on the Avengers at one point, and they have her under lock and key, and they're going after Cable, and they say to her, like, she breaks out and does a whole bunch of stuff, and she's just like, my father taught me well, and I'm like, oh, okay, and she always calls Nathan Summers her father, so I in my head I was just like, oh, I didn't realize he was actually like her biological father, but
you adopted her, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. So that was an old-fashioned moment of me assuming that biological father meant, because in the world we live in, that could mean your sperm donor doesn't mean you're the one that raised the kid. But in any case,
they also call him the daughter in the movies and stuff, right?
Yeah.
It's I guess it is his daughter.
It says that her father is technically unknown, but it was adopted by Cable.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, exactly.
Not that it mattered, but I was just, because I always thought it was actually, I was like, oh, because then in my head I was just like, oh, so Scott's like your grandfather, and like, I was thinking more that they were continuing the lineage of the Summers as to why I brought that up.
It could be.
What I feel is a missed opportunity in this movie is this shouldn't have been Cable versus Deadpool. This should have been Cable coming to get Deadpool's help because Bishop was trying to kill Hope.
Ooh, bring in Bishop.
Yeah,
you know.
That's the thing. That's the one thing that they actually haven't touched on in the comic books. I always want to see like a Bishop versus Cable like confrontation to be like, you're destroying the timeline. No, you're destroying the timeline. I'm trying to fix it.
Can we get a better Bishop though? If we're gonna do it, because the guy that played Bishop, I didn't really love that dude.
Yeah, but mind you, I think it was because it was written horribly.
Anyways,
that's a whole other tangent. Sorry. So back to final thoughts. I'll say before we give the numbers, I'll say my quick rendition. Again, this is from the perspective of someone who was reading all of the things that led up to this. It's a great conclusion, then break into the next story arc, and it's a great realignment of the character in the sense that, like, for the last few issues, he wasn't as much anti-hero as he was more hero, and in this one, you're like, no, he is an anti-hero. He's like Ash from Army of Darkness. He's a selfish little prick. He has a conscience for when he fucks someone over. Sure, that's why he's protecting the family. That's really why he's doing it, because he doesn't want his name to go through the mud. And then that's it. And then my grade is somewhere between 3.75 and 4, to be honest, because the art style was excessively appropriate. The banter was appropriate. You didn't have any wasted dialogue or wasted word bubbles, which could happen and happens very often. Because he had a second voice, and now that since that second voice is gone out of his brain, there's no reason to know what he's thinking unless he's fighting. He's like thinking of jokes that he's not saying out loud, and the fact that you learn a bunch about Cable and you bring back Stryfe, which is a character a villain that has not been brought back enough because he should be important. More important than
I
what
didn't
he
know
is.
anything about Stryfe till now, and I'm curious as to how he even became
Executioner's song is amazing, dude. It's from the 90s. That's when he impersonates Cable when he tries to kill Professor X. It's one of the best story arcs around.
Hey, so my grade for this, if I'm going to go next year, is going to be a placeholder grade, and I say that because I don't want to give this the highest grade for a Deadpool comic because I don't know any other runs, right? So I kind of want to give other runs a chance before giving this one the highest grade. So I'm going to give it a 3.5. Not because it doesn't deserve a 4, but because I think maybe there's probably more to be told you that would catch my interest more than this one did. And this one caught my interest a lot. I don't know if I'd recommend it for a beginner. I think I got into it because I'm a comic book reader and I can understand that there are things that are told that probably will be explained later. But for someone reading Deadpool for the first time, this may not be my first recommendation. I don't know if you'll agree with that, Dave. If you have anything else to recommend.
I completely agree with your sentiment. It's something that if you don't know anything about Deadpool, it's not. But if you're someone who at least understands who he is, you could maybe start.
That's exactly why I was able to get into it.
Let's put it this way: you should listen to this episode and then start reading the issue. Almost like bad. Because like we don't really. We give away stuff, but like again with Deadpool, like he in some of the first issue it says I'm going to kill Cable. So like it's not like he doesn't tell you what's going to happen.
Yeah.
There's one, right.
There's one issue that literally says, in this issue, Cable dies.
Yeah. I like how they did that.
Which we didn't speak, but it's the old...
Well, I figured the whole point is let people...
We can leave that.
But yeah, so I'm giving it 3 on 5. Like I said, I think Duggan did a very good job at writing this version of Deadpool. Not necessarily better than anyone I've read, but better than most. I think that's important because writing a character this, what's the word?
Complex.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah,
complex. As much as he's silly, he's complex. Man.
Yeah, writing a character.
I don't know if complex is the word I would use. I don't think
zanially complex.
Well, I understand why we're using lack of a better word, complex.
Yeah,
only because
I'm going to say layered.
Sure, yeah,
fair,
I was gonna say that too.
Fair.
Layered and complex. I mean, I feel like they're not synonymous, but in this context, the layers are difficult to understand and see through.
Sure,
like for every layer of frost you put in front of the lens, it's harder to see through it. That's what makes it difficult. So it's it's difficult to write a character like Deadpool, to write him well. Because you could write a Deadpool story, and like I said, it reads like a 5-year-old's fever dream on some opioids or psychedelic drugs sometimes, because you're just like, what is going on? But at the same time, as we discussed through this episode, when you pull back and realize the threads and the layers and the complexity to decisions and the actions done, you're just like, oh, okay. Yeah. I see why.
Don't make a mistake and think too much.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's important here. Don't try to overanalyze what's happening. Literally, that's exactly what you're seeing is what's happening. That's it.
Enjoy the ride.
There's no second meaning behind what you're seeing.
Yeah. No. They're saying it. They're putting it on the page.
Yeah. There's no hidden lens. Exactly. Just go with the flow. Yeah. And it's fun with
it's
facts.
A fun ride.
Fun's with facts. That's what
fun ride.
So there you go. So 3 on 5, 3.75,
3.74 depending.
And then Tobes, you said
3.5.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good grade. That's what 9 to...
Horrible at math. Shouldn't be. I'm an accountant. 10.5?
10.5?
10.75 on
yeah, something
15?
like that, yeah. It was all the decimals that always throws me off when we start throwing those around.
I'm on my day off from that
work. But yeah, so guys, I think we can easily say we're recommending it. So that's pretty much that's the show. If you guys have enjoyed this, please make sure you subscribe to this wonderful That's Canon. And we're going to be here every 2 weeks, like we said. And this is a couple months later. But right now, we're recording this in June. But you guys are enjoying it now. And do we actually want to try a joking prediction prediction? Anything interesting you guys want to try and predict for the near
Wolverine's
future?
going to come back and kill all the other Wolverines impersonating him.
Well, okay, well, that one we kind of know.
He stole the Gambit storyline.
Yeah.
Wolverine is coming back in September, so if you guys are listening to this, you should be back by now in the Marvel Universe, the main 616 universe, which was announced recently, and his claws heat up now.
Oh, I didn't
You didn't read
this.
it?
I didn't
Yeah.
read it yet.
That's the
But
new-
we could have
that's
a
the new power
discussion.
he's
That's the
gained.
new power people are
Oh.
that they're adding. So his claws can heat up to like red hot, white hot. Yeah.
That's stupid. It's
I know.
That is stupid
adamantium.
because it can cut through anything. It doesn't need to heat up.
Yeah, that has no
I know.
point.
Oh, guys, you're preaching to the choir of the converted.
If
here.
anything, it makes it more malleable.
You know what?
his-
Here's my prediction.
they
This is
scrap
going to be
that.
all retcon.
It's going to be all retcon.
retcon.
Yeah. Yeah, they're going to bring him back, and you're going to find out it's a clone, and something.
It's a robot. He's
Yeah.
not really back. He's still dead.
Okay, so that's fair. Our October prediction, if you guys are whatever you guys listen to this, but it's going to be probably after this.
It's June now. We're just gonna.
Yeah.
I'll say that. It's
So
more
it's
important
June
where we
now.
are now. We're June 2018.
and our prediction for this Wolverine story when he's coming back in September is they're going to have to retcon it and figure out how to take away the heated blades because it's a stupid idea. There you go.
Yeah.
So that's the whole show. Dave, do you want to tell people where they can check out your stuff real quick?
Go to square-idea.com where you could research a bit about just some independent books from our group. We have the Fathom that should be out, which is already out. We have Trinity that should already have its printed issue. Ideally, if this is October, should happen. And yeah, and then if you can't wait for the hard copies, you could always go on patreon.com, research square-idea for the Fathoms. Trinity, you should find them. If you want to connect or give you some suggestions for the show, or if you want to reach out for potentially joining the group, because we're always looking for artists to help us, my Instagram is merc_witta, that's WITTA_mouth. There you go.
And if you guys have already gone to Comic-Con, hopefully you've already gotten to see these guys at their table because they're going to be at Comic-Con.
That's right.
So this is both a nod to them because they just found out, and in the future, thank you for coming by.
Yeah, there you go.
Because you guys have heard about this podcast at the table, and you're now listening to it, and we appreciate you guys tuning into the show. And Tobes, anything you want to tell the people?
At that fit dude on Instagram, y'all. See y'all next issue.
That's it. That's all. Brian Holiday, HOLIDAE. And if you want to hit us up on all of our multitude of social medias, it's at @AStrongFranklin on Twitter and Instagram. And if you guys are looking to listen to these on YouTube, it's tinyurl.com/Franklin Armstrong DOTCOM. That's also Franklin Armstrong DOTCOM on Facebook. That's a show. Thank you guys for tuning in. Peace out. Have a good
Bye-bye.
one.
Peace.